Slave descendants on Georgia's Sapelo Island have held onto their ancestral land since the end of the Civil War. A visit to the island today reveals a humble lifestyle under the shade of sprawling live oaks and curtains of Spanish moss. But there is also a desperation here. What were the taxes before?
$2,036 total.
What did they go up to?
$10,836.
Reginald Hall saw the taxes on his family's land increase overnight more than 500%. And he's not alone. The problem, new county assessments spiked by demand for expensive vacation homes on this undeveloped island.
Yeah.
How basic is life here?
As basic as it gets.
Hall takes me on a tour down the bumpy roads through the island's only residential area, a place scenery rich, but job poor. What are you getting for your tax money?
Nothing.
There are no paved roads, no schools, and the only ferry to the island doesn't run at night. But that hasn't stopped outsiders from setting off an upscale building boom, with unaffordable taxes as the fallout.
Once we lose the land through this strategy of increasing taxes, we're gone as a people.
These residents are descendants of the hundreds of slaves brought to Sapelo from West Africa in the 1800s. They are living remnants of what's known as the Gullah Geechee culture. Fewer than 50 still live here.
That's part of what built this country. And Sapelo being the only intact Gullah Geechee community in the country that's left.
For most, selling out is not an option. Cornelia Bailey is ninth-generation Sapelo.
I told one guy, I said, it's priceless, and he said, everything has a price. I said, no, you don't know me. I said, this is priceless. You don't have enough money to buy it, so forget it.
Residents say they get no help from county officials. To find out why, we had to hop the ferry back to the mainland, where answers were unusually hard to come by. No county official we approached would agree to either talk to us on camera or even return our calls. We were able to reach the head of the Tax Assessors Board, who said that when it comes to preserving the culture on Sapelo and taxes, they're just following state law. Tax Assessors Board Chairman James Larkin suggests the Sapelo residents brought this on themselves, saying if they hadn't started selling their property, there wouldn't be a problem. Do you buy that?
Not at all.
A group of residents plans to sue in state and federal courts. Reginald Hall is fifth-generation Sapelo. What do you think about when you come out here?
My grandmother.
At the island's historic cemetery, Hall can't help but get emotional, thinking how the struggles of the past could be forgotten.
They humbled themselves, most of the times in certain disgrace, and weren't allowed to live. They were only allowed to survive.
And the fight for survival continues, with hopes there will be future generations calling the island home.
And David, you mentioned a county official suggested the problem with the taxes is just because the residents started selling their land. Obviously, when you were talking to the resident there, he said absolutely not. But how did others respond to that question?
Well, they feel like they're caught in an economic vice because there are no jobs really very much on the island, and there's really not much economic opportunity there. Their job prospects on the mainland are limited when the ferry only runs until 5:30 at night. So they're saying that they don't really have much more than their land. They need some help from the county to hold on to it. Typically what happens, one of the longtime residents there passes away and then wills that property onto the later generation that no longer lives there and has no interest in holding onto that property. So little by little, they're losing that community. It's already small and getting much smaller.